what is coming out of a lodestone is because I understood everything is in a relationship. The universe is about relationships. From the smallest information package, a basic particle, to the largest information package, a galaxy. To understand this, I had to understand knowledge as a commodity and apply scientific principles. Something knowledge economy can never do because its definition of knowledge is completely wrong. They don't understand knowledge. Knowledge did not begin with the computer age. That definition came from knowledge economics, and only other definition of information that suits knowledge economics is from Wheeler in quantum mechanics. So I decided to do an experiment with the help from George Hathaway of Hathaway International, an engineering physics laboratory based in Mississauga in Canada. I carried out a set of experiments. At first, things did not go right. Everything was going wrong. But how? The theory is sound, especially the paper I wrote in 2019, The Algorithm of Information and the Origin of Basic Particles. This paper was a development of ideas first espoused in the paper Knowledge Economics, Summary and Rationality that I wrote in 2017. Now, I knew that the core of the theory was correct. Why was the magnetic phenomenon acting up? I mean, let us take what is common to all information packages. That's common to all knowledge, because you can only know information. This I state right at the beginning of the paper, The Algorithm of Information and the Origin of Basic Particle. They are, all information is discrete, independent, can be isolated, can be used to compute, is consistent, is random, and it is all in a relationship. Whatever is coming out of a lodestone is independent. By merely being there, it means it is meant to be there, given the circumstances, the way the laws of the universe are. It can be isolated. There it is, living a lodestone and attracting stuff like iron. It is consistent. It will not attract plastic in normal condition unless one enhances the plastic and mixes it with magnetic material. It will not attract water in normal conditions. It will always attract iron. So it is consistent. It is random. The lodestone could have been anywhere on this planet, but it happened to be there. It happens to be there. You can pick up a magnet from here and put it there. That is a random act. It is in a relationship and comes from relationship. It is coming from a lodestone. So it is coming from a relationship. But what about discrete? Meaning it can be used to compute. You can't use something that is not discrete to compute. It complies with all the other basic characteristics of information. It must be discrete. What could be going on? It does not matter if people will laugh. The theory is sound. I probably have failed. Having lost hope and doing a what the heck, I decided to test this ferrite that had large slits. You can call them holes. There it was, the phenomenon organizing itself into a wave. Can it be repeated using different material? Back to iron with the same dimensions as the ferrite, but I made different sets so that the slits are not, or the holes are in different places, to see if we can still get the same pattern no matter where the holes are. We were using what is known as Thomas Young's experiment. We were adapting Thomas Young's experiment, famously known as the double slit experiment, to magnetism. And there it was again. We saw the magnetic phenomenon organizing itself into a wave. It can only mean it organizes itself into a wave to go through a medium. And a wave formation is the most efficient form according to the algorithm of information. According to the algorithm of information, because if it was not true, it would not organize itself into a wave. That can only mean all quantum phenomena organizes itself into a wave because it is going through some medium. And when disturbed, it will do its best to reorganize itself into a wave. Before the magnetic phenomenon organizes itself into a wave, it is a kumson. If it works with whatever is coming out of a lodestone, we now know it is a kumson that organizes itself into a magnetic wave. And understanding that all quantum phenomena have different qualities, but applying the same principles at a large or small level should yield the same results. These principles that show a magnet is a particle and organizes itself into a wave must show that gravity is also a particle. That is another topic, but there is no other way of proving gravity is a particle. But it must be, because it is information. Though I first showed everything is in a relationship at the end of 2015, in 2016 I went on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I was talking to a Robert McEwen. It is because of a video I sent them, and I told CBC I just discovered that everything is in a relationship. I went on their show explaining how everything is in a relationship, from the particle, the basic particle, to the biggest galaxy. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation had my interview up. Then all of a sudden they took down my interview from their website and replaced it with Lee Smolin from Perimeter Institute in April 2019. All of a sudden, 3 years after my interview with CBC allows this man to lie, but they know I was there in 2016, probably sitting in the same chair as Lee Smolin as when Robert McEwen interviewed me. But they were now taking my words and were pretending now it's suddenly coming from a white man. Mind you, I had the same interview and said the same thing as Lee Smolin 3 years earlier. He was claiming, this Lee Smolin chap, that he had an epiphany, and he just found out in 2019 that everything is in a relationship starting from the particle. What a scam. Imagine taking me down and replacing me with Lee Smolin, because a black should not be seen that he discovered everything is in a relationship. Just greedy, envious people. You have to be just a greedy, envious nonsense when you can rob in the middle of the day. Any astute scientist could see that the CBC and Lee Smolin are telling lies. But of course they don't care because it's a white robbing a black, and these astute scientists, they want it all to seem like it's from a white. Lee Smolin lies and says that everything is in a relationship comes from his study of Einstein. But we know it could never have come from Einstein, because Einstein asked the question, does a mouse change the universe by looking at the moon? Clearly, Einstein did not understand information and relationships. Yes, the mouse does change the universe by looking at the moon. Even in the smallest of ways, the photons being reflected from the moon reach the mouse's eyes, not its skull or the floor or the ground. The mouse would have created a different relationship by looking at the moon. So Einstein did not understand relationships. That's clear. It's propaganda to say, no, because Smolin's a Jew, he's sticking up for a Jew, and he's using another Jew to say, I've done this. We're tired. This is reality now. There is no time to waste. Not forgetting that Einstein was looking for a world without humans. Humans are part and parcel of the relationships in this world. One then can't lie and say Einstein had anything to do with and everything is in a relationship. But powerful organizations and people out on a propaganda trip to tell lies and distort reality. And there is Western mainstream media involved. When do they tell the truth to this world? Only when it suits them for their propaganda. The Western establishment does not understand that emotions and intellect can be divided. Lee Smolin could not take out his emotions. He was crying with the CBC, tears that this is from a black. They wanted it to be from them. They can't separate their emotions and intellect. They enjoy life and death because of power. They cannot live the past because they want to pretend that everything's from them. So sending us all to our death by robbing everybody and pretending they are somehow special as they throw propaganda like rule of law as they rob. Today, not in history. By rule of law, they mean what favors their con so that they can take our works. Not civilization, but pain. That is all they know. Theirs is to rob humanity. Then the same people will complain of intellectual property rights being taken by China as they rob a black of his underwear. They're evil. Humans never learn. They will rob for as long as they can get away with it. The likes of Plato and Socrates understood this. No, many philosophers are recorded to have understood this. From pre-modern China, people like Lao Tzu, it can't be called ancient. What was there 5,000 years ago when we found the foundations of human civilization 200,000 years ago? The pyramids and the Great Walls, these are the beginnings of the modern age. This con has been going on since forever. Humans just refuse to learn to stop robbing other people. It is in their minds, be it mythological or real. what is happening with all these lies is that God's